Welcome, everybody, to the Beacon of Light podcast this evening. Welcome. We have Miss Jean Boyce Dart. So we're really excited to have her here tonight, and we're going to jump into this and get things going. Well, if I push the right buttons.
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
And we're back. Okay. Welcome, everybody. We are so happy that you are part of the Beacon of Light podcast tonight. And we have, again, Miss Jean Boyce Dart. There we go. And so, Jean, tell us a little bit about where you're broadcasting from and a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, April. I'm just so happy to be here with you all. It's just such an honor to be here. So, yes, I'm from California. And a little bit about myself. I'm an author and also an expressive arts therapist and coach for many years, for over 40 years. And I'm here to talk about toxic shame. It's something that's really important to me, and it's something that I would love to chat with you about, April.
Awesome. This is it is a powerful subject, right? The whole concept of shame. I think we've got running down here on the ticker a little bit about what this might be about. And you name them as friends. So that's really interesting. So do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. First, I should probably say there's a difference. There's a difference between guilt and shame. And usually guilt is something where we're maybe thinking in our heads, I did something bad. But shame is more, I am bad. You just kind of take the whole thing on. And it really is something that you become. You feel that that's who you are. So for me, shame was something that I did all the time, but I didn't really know that because it started so young for me as a child. I was not really supported by my parents in terms of my physical problems. They didn't understand. They were good parents, but they didn't really know what to do. They just kept saying, Jean faints all the time, Jean faints all the time, And so I kept falling down and, having trauma, physical trauma, concussions, and they didn't really do anything about it. And I had lots of symptoms from that. I have weakness on the right side. I have trouble with my eyes. I have all these problems with dizziness, and I have to have railings, and I have trouble walking. And that was causing me to be shameful and hide that. And it started very early. My mother told me it started at the age of 3, my first head injuries. But when you have a head injury, you're very more likely to repeat it over and over again. And that's what was happening to me. So with that, then living a life of shame, it drew to me all these other experiences that were not good, that were not healthy, of trauma, other traumas, sexual assault by teacher, by a doctor, and by a policeman, sexual harassment and assault. People that you would ordinarily trust, I didn't trust. And so I have a lot of the symptoms of toxic shame. And that's what I want to talk about, trauma-induced toxic shame and how to get out of it. But right now I'm living a life of lots of joy and happiness. And I really changed my life around and have that connection now with God and that understanding of who I am. And I'm just really happy to be here and share that. And that's what my books are about. I published 3 books this year, starting with children and then moving on to adults next year. And it's all about bully busting adventures and facing these fears, moving through the shame, and finding joy and happiness.
Wow, it is quite the journey, right? When we can go through, and I'm really glad you said the word through, because I think sometimes we think we have to overcome, we have to hide out, we have to skip around, but really, no, the only way to do it is to go through it. And through it, as we come to the other side, we have a greater perspective on the shame and what has happened. And it is awful that abuse attracts more challenges, possibly more abuse and what have you, because it's really how we are, shining our light outward. We really have, I would say, a victim's story, even if we're not really thinking about that. Some really know their story, and man, it is out there. Others might just portray it in small ways, which makes the vulnerability happen. And it is tough to go through to understand. So, how does the shame become a friend?
Oh, that's a great question. And well, research has shown that, the 2 qualities, guilt, you can say remorse or humiliation, any of those things, and shame and other many negative qualities are not as powerful. They're not as powerful as shame. And I'm talking about this toxic shame, because it's such a strong motivator. It helps you choose the next step that you need to take. It helps you make the changes in your life that you need to make. It's more powerful than all of the other negative emotions. So that's why they're my friends. They help me. And so it's just really important when I feel those feelings to say, thank you, God, or thank you, higher consciousness, whatever you believe is okay. Just thank you, life, that I thank you, me, for feeling shame and guilt right now. Let's get quiet and listen inwardly to myself as soul. Let's just listen. Why am I feeling this shame? And many times, maybe you don't know. You do not know why. Why am I feeling shame? Especially, this toxic shame, because it's something that you just feel all the time, having grown up with it or having multiple traumas. You feel it. You just kind of accept that shame reaction. Someone does something and you react with shame, So maybe you don't know. That's okay. Just start by saying, I feel shame. Just start listening. It's a long journey, but you can do it. You can be free of that and start finding ways to work with that.
Right. I think it's really interesting how your children's books address certain topics like this. So I see one right behind you, and the friends have feelings, really important. So share with us a little bit about how this book might address some of the things that you've discussed tonight.
Okay, I will, but I don't want to talk a whole lot about my books. I appreciate you asking me. I really want to give a list of tips for people to help them move and shift out of shame. But yeah, sure. This just came out a couple of days ago, special for you, April, and your friends. I wanted to get this out as an ebook. It's out right now. And this is, let's see, it's got 10 colors and 14 animals and 16 feelings to introduce to very, very, very young children, toddlers, year old, to start teaching them that it's okay to have emotions. And all of my books are like that because I'm very emotional.
That's really brilliant. But it's
Yeah,
great to bring that in and to
yeah,
have that recognized at such a small age,
yeah,
because it's not to have the feeling and then, oh no, I better hide that, or maybe
yeah,
that's connected with shame. No, it's real and it's just happening, and it becomes healthier, right? The younger we are to know and understand, so that maybe we can save some time as adults. Like we figured it out a lot earlier.
yeah, yeah. And it's a cute little story about the pig going around the barnyard, and each one is a poem. And he learns from each animal friend has some kind of a feeling. He's feeling something. And at the end, Bernie the pig learns how important it is to care about his friends and listen. His mother teaches him that, So yeah, so it's a very light, just a few lines under each large picture with the expression on the face, anger, or fear, or each there's a picture, and you're asking your child, can you make your face like that? How do you look? Let's look in the mirror. Let's practice, being afraid, or being, shy, or what happens when you hurt your foot? What kind of a face do you make? So all these things, getting used to seeing people with expressions, because sometimes when you're a shamer, like me, growing up, you're afraid of all these faces and expressions, but it gets us used to that and comfortable with it.
That is awesome. That's such a
Mhm.
great thing of the awareness. That's great. So share with us some of these tips for adults, so that
Okay, so for
maybe we need to be practicing in the mirror, like, oh, is that what I
yeah,
really look
yeah,
like? Just kidding. Just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. So the first tip, I just want to say, um, a little poem. This is kind of fun because I like to do that. Let me go up here and look. Okay, so what we usually do is, um, okay, well, what I'd like if maybe first to is just give the symptoms. So you can say, am I a toxic shamer? I don't know, So I want to give these quickly. These I'll run through it really fast, so and you might go, oh my gosh, yes I am. But okay, so these are red flags: trouble maintaining relationships, lying, um, dishonesty, abusive behavior, and neglecting self-care, suicidal thoughts, just waking up and thinking, oh gosh, I wish I were dead. I don't want to be alive right now. Compulsive behaviors, binge eating, or food, drugs, alcohol, gambling, um, workaholism. Shamers a lot, they'll work all the time or be helping everyone else because it makes them feel like they're good, but to the point of too much. Chronic anxiety, depression, panic attacks, undiagnosed health problems. Often that's the truth. Chronic muscle tension. Often saying in your head or out loud, you might say, well, he's not going to do that. He won't help. He won't do that. Or I can't do that. Or she's never going to do that, without even trying to find out if that's true. Um, Engaging in negative self-talk, in your head is saying you're lazy, or you don't look good, you look ugly, or something. Eating disorders, and feeling very sensitive, highly sensitive. I have that one. I have all of these. And out of control emotional lashing out, maybe at spouses or friends or family, or crying uncontrollably, difficulty saying no, and sleeping disorders, control issues, needing to control, or feeling out of control, or surrendering your control to someone else, and avoidance behaviors, watching a lot of TV and all this and that, and just avoiding phone calls and all these things. And so right now, you might recognize that many people are experiencing those things, that because we're living in a 2-year pandemic. And these symptoms, one of the, there's different types of trauma. There's trauma like you had a flood and wiped out your house, trauma like, chronic trauma, you're abused every day for years of your family, domestic violence or something. Second kind of trauma. Third kind of trauma you can have is generational trauma that's passed down. And I experienced that. My parents told me later when I was an adult that they had trauma. They have this shame that gets passed on to me. And you're experiencing that. You're growing up with shame, traumatic shame being passed down. But the last one is what we're experiencing right now, all of us. And that is secondary traumatic stress, STS. You're watching it on the TV, all these terrible things happening, So of course, if some of you have some of these things going on, it's okay. It's okay that we're going through that. So then I'd like to move forward to how you can fix that. But April, I want to hear from you first. What do you think about that?
So I think I'll call it layers, right? You've got layers of things happening, and sometimes you just have to start where you can. And I think feeling a lot of the differences and maybe the hopelessness, like I refer to, where's my thing? Quite often,
Yes.
there's just one tiny place that we can start. But start with a friend, hopefully. And as you work through that shame and the recognizing and the awareness with time, right? Sorry, y'all, if you think this is like, oh, I got it, afternoon and I'm solid. Love you. No, it's not happening that way. But it doesn't have to be a 20-year hum and glum either. Now, it might take a full 20 years to go through all of the different types of experiences, but you don't have to stay within the layers and the layers and the layers. Start pulling
Yes.
things back, get better, pill some more, get better, ready to face the next one,
It's so
get
true.
better. So,
Yes. You don't have to be thinking, okay, I'm here. I want to be here right now. It takes time and love and patience, and you can do it. And just peel back layers. Just take that step. So I'm going to mention some things that you can do. And I said I was going to share a little poem because I like to rock it and make rhymes, and it really helps me. So what we're doing is, this is what we're doing when we're in this toxic shame, is we're waiting, vegetating, sedating, berating, negating, deflating, procrastinating, and debating. We need to shift to relating, equating, innovating, communicating, associating, appreciating. And most importantly, we need to be creating. When we do those things, we get out, we're taking one step forward away from shame, toxic shame. There's the good shame, like I said, it's our friend, but we don't want it to be that everything is shame. So here's some steps. There's just a few to take to move into those wonderful communicating, equating, all those wonderful relating, which is hard to do when you're in shame. But here's what you can do. First, love the shame, as April said too. Just feel it, sit with it, love the shame. Realize and recognize that it's a gift from God. If you believe in God, it's a gift. And start looking at it and loving it, embracing it. Don't hide from it. Okay. Next, number 2, change your body position. Very often, people who have shame go in within themselves. They go in, they avert their eyes, check it out throughout the day. Am I posturing myself in a shameful position when I talk to people, or just at home even? Am I sitting, am I kind of, start checking it out. Feel how it feels to be proud and happy and holding yourself up. Start practicing that. 3, share your story. And I know April talks about this too. Share your story. And maybe you don't even know what your story is. For me, that was the truth. I don't know. I was so growing up with it. But you can just start with saying, I feel ashamed. If somebody says, why? I don't know is okay. Just start sharing your story. And then number 4, one way that will help you maybe sharing your story is writing in a journal, if that works for you. Now, some of you might say, I don't write, that's okay. Maybe you can just scribble a picture. Sometimes I do that. I can't write, I'm blocked. I'll draw a picture that's a feeling. Maybe draw the weather today or something. Just start. What you're doing is you're honoring yourself. You're honoring and listening to yourself, and it's just a habit. It's a good habit to get into. And number 6, meditation or prayer, trusting in God, and just surrendering your life over to a higher power, whatever that is for you. That's just so important. Many research studies show us how effective that is. If you do that every day, that helps you relax and know someone else is handling everything for me, So groups like this community that April has here, all of you, it's just so helpful to have a group. And now it's easier because you can be in a group without anyone knowing who you are. You can have a picture of a butterfly or something. It doesn't matter. Just join a group of like-minded friends and start sharing. Number 8, giving to others is just so important, and find a way to do that. Now, I'm not talking about trying to control others and giving so that you're a do-gooder and you're trying to fix them and change their lives and get them to do things your way. That's not giving. Helping and supporting them with their dreams, loving them and letting them go at their own pace. That's charity. And psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, psychodynamic approaches really help with changing that negative framework that you have, making a change with that. Expressive arts therapy, which I do. And people maybe they think, oh, that means I have to dance or sing or something. No, no, no. Or maybe I have to be a painter or writer. No, it's anything expressive arts. Maybe you're going to do cake decorator, anything, garden, you're planting things and watching them grow, making something really beautiful. That's expressive arts, anything expressive, creative, because you were made by the divine creator and you must be a creator or you will die. You start dying. We need to create. So it's so good to get that out. Also, just reading, making yourself more knowledgeable, receiving more information about this toxic shame so that you know and recognize when it happens so that you can stop it and recognize those red flags and start taking action on them.
Wow, fantastic. You've given us quite the list. And I know many of you can see on the replay all about the list, jot it down. And if you need these types of supports, Jean's coaching is phenomenal and it will really help you. I love what Laura has to say. She said a little earlier that she loved the list of words
Okay.
and that
Yeah.
journaling really helped her before she could voice it. That's really powerful. And she also says here that prayer, meditation, and positive associates are the regulars in my life.
Yes.
And that's wonderful to surround yourself with that because then you can reach out to those that are not in that same place. We have to have a well of love in order to give out. And so it's good to have a replenishment and then be able to serve and come back. And remember, you can start that right away, little bits by little bits. The small text, the small smile. We're not thinking of the great big grand things, just the everyday, and things can happen.
Yes. Thank you so much. Please.
Melissa, so she's like, "What those words again? You ready for that poem
Oh,
again?"
you're already saying it again? Yeah, I like things that rhyme, and that's what my books are all about, little rhymes to help you remember things, all of them. Okay, we are waiting, vegetating, berating, sedating, negating, deflating, procrastinating, and debating. We must stop and shift to relating, equating, innovating, communicating, associating, and appreciating, and most importantly, creating.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Laura says we can't draw water from an empty well, and that's very, very true.
Yeah.
Melissa again says, "Thank you for all you do to help shift our thoughts." So
Thank you.
hats off, Miss Jean, voice dart. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and I hope that this has been a helpful list, especially in the holiday seasons where sometimes we can get caught into
Yes.
shame and some
I want to give
challenges
away
with that.
something though. Can I give?
Ooh, yes.
Okay. Whoever wants it, and April, I don't know, do you want to randomly pick or just the first person that writes it? I'm giving away one of these, this book, and this is an online ebook too. I'm giving one each of these, whoever wants. So if you want, just write book. And how do you want to do this, April?
I'm gonna pick Melissa. She was the first to go, woo, woo. I mean,
Okay.
she's ready to go. So Melissa Ray Wilkins. I will have Jean connect with you and you guys can connect back and forth. Oh, look at that. And Laura says book. And we
Okay.
have a me book. Look at that.
Okay.
Book. Wow, you guys, you'll have to debate
Yay!
about it.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. There you go. Wonderful gifts for you. And thank you so much, April. You are a gift. You are a gift, all of you and April. And this is just so beautiful what you do here all the time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Melissa, for being a part of this active right here in our Beacon of Light podcast tonight. We will see you again next week with our next author. Thank you again, Jean. You are beautiful. Contact her. You can see down here running on the ticker below us that she has an awesome website, jeanvoicedart.com. And so connect with her there. Find her on the Facebook and let's do this thing together because no one has to be shameful by themselves. We've all got some. Let's share it. Let's wear it. Let's go through it and let's do it. We'll see y'all.
Yay!
Bye bye.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.